All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob. It's Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. We are up to episode 21, the penultimate episode of the season, called Ragtag. So full spoilers if you have not seen this episode. Wow. I kind of knew most of the stuff that was going to happen in here, but this is just another fantastic episode. Man. This is the episode where you basically say goodbye to Grant Ward. Any kind of feelings that you might have for him, this is the episode that proves that there ain't no coming back for him. He had his chance throughout this episode, and this is where you close the book on him, and it's tragic. We get the backstory. And in a lot of this review, this is what we're going to be talking about is choices and what makes you a person, because Ward grew up in this very terrible home life. His family may be rich, but that doesn't make, you can't be assholes. And so he tried to kill his brother because his brother made his life miserable. And it seems to me, and I can't remember if I recall this right, but it looked like that his brother made him kill his youngest brother. But now he's in jail, and Garrett comes. And, you're going to be in jail. Your parents and everybody is going to make you try it as an adult. And somebody walks in and says, hey, I can get you out of here. It's going to be hard, but you're not going to be in jail. How do who says no to that? We all like to think that we're all the best people in the world, but when push comes to shove and self-preservation comes in, what kind of choice do we make? And, I'll be honest, if I was in that position, yeah, I'm out. Which is where, Garrett comes in. And Bill Paxton, again, I can't say enough good things about him in this series, in this part. The de-aging thing they do on him is just subtle. It's subtle. I like that. It's not too much. But just all the fun that he has in this role, it's just amazing. So he ends up taking Ward out to the middle of the wilderness, and, he's cold, he's withholding, he's doing all the things that somebody, that's, terrible. But when you're in this position, who are you to, what can you do? You said yes. And he leaves him out in the middle of nowhere with the dog and says, hey, I'll be back in a couple of months, and figure it out. And just that whole coldness of it all. Knowing that it's all just manipulation. It's all just another form of abuse. He went from one abusive situation to another. But, he learns, he, does what he has to. The tempting thing would be, I know he's in the middle of nowhere, but he says he's not coming back for 2 months. And honestly, if in my situation, if I was in that, position, the first thing I thought of was, well, if he's not coming back for 2 months, I'm going to bounce. I know I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I got a dog, and there's the sun comes up in the east and goes down in the west. I'd have walked my ass out of there. But, it's easy to say that when it's not, but he stays, and Garrett comes back eventually 6 months later instead of 2. And, he gives the thing that you get from a lot of bosses, where you get the pat on the back and then a punch in the stomach, like, hey, really good job, but so it's still like, he rewards you and then he takes something away, and now he wants him to take care of the dog, and it's just, he's like, yeah, sure. And that's where we'll stop for this part. We'll come back to this, but it's just Ward's manipulation over, from Garrett, making him into the man he is today, feeling like he owes him and everything like that. In the meantime, we got our agents trying to figure out, how to get control of the cybertech, understand the cybertech stuff, understand Deathlock, understand how to maybe figure it out. Meanwhile, Fitz is having, a big part of this episode is Fitz's feelings towards Ward and trying to understand why Ward did it. And so we kind of get this back and forth throughout the whole episode of everybody telling Fitz, he's just bad, but Fitz is, hopeful. which makes what happens later even more like tragic. And it's a perfectly crafted and kind of emotionally manipulative episode, but it's done in a great way. It's an effective episode. We get, Sky. Everybody's feeling guilty. I like Coulson's kind of just that anchor. Coulson and May are just kind of, they know what to do. It's the younger guys, the kids that don't have as much, that are struggling with the ideas of Ward and everything. Trip's bag full of Howling Commando stuff is pretty cool. Fitz with the little cigarette going, oh. It's always really fun. The Joy Buzzer EMP, all that stuff is really cool. I like that they had to go low tech, kind of like my videos, to get one over on Hydra, that they had to start using stuff that nobody uses. Kind of like later on when they try to use the UHF signal, which is kind of a bummer that it doesn't play out like that, but it's also cool that they find like all the hard copies. Like, they went really old school on it, and May and Coulson pretending to be basically Fitz and Simmons is hilarious. Them getting, Cyrano de Bergerac through the ear, them getting told what to say. And then not marking that Hydra's already up their game, that the little ICER bullet that they thought would be, they're in, is already obsolete to these people. But I do like how they just throw the filing cabinet out the door, at the window. That's great. The whole thing with the Ian Quinn being back in, Colombia, that's cool. I don't think Garrett needed a shave or a haircut in that scene. He's like, I'm going to show you what handsome really looks like. I'm like, dude, you've got perfect hair and you clearly don't need a shave. But whatever. When we find out that Garrett was the first Deathlock and that this is all just because he's dying. And again, it's so typical. Like, we want our villains to have these big grand schemes, but in the end, he's just human. And again, it makes you wonder, like, what would you do? Like, faced with our mortality, what are we capable of doing to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves going? And again, we'd all like to think, we'll do the right thing. I'll just die like a man. But then there's that part of me that goes, well, if I had the means and the opportunity to keep myself alive, what would I do to stay alive? How many people would I take out, so that I could keep going? And I don't know the answer to that because I haven't been faced with it. I mean, I'm getting to the age now where, I'm looking in both directions, back and forward, going, well, forward's no good and I can't go back. You know what I mean? And what would I do if I had a chance to live longer? And it's not an easy question. I mean, some people, if you can say that you would just die like a man, then bravo. But I don't know what I'd do. I would like to think that I'd do the right thing and just die like a man and not hurt anybody else. But can I say that with absolute certainty? No, I can't. And it's a question that every person has to ask themselves, I think, at some point when you think about your own mortality. Garrett just takes it and runs with it. And it shows how selfish he is. Everything he's been doing is all for himself. Even Ward. Everybody that comes in his orbit is just self-serving. So it kind of makes me wonder about, like, Hydra. Like, really, he's been running independent, seemingly, of these guys. I wonder what they would think if they knew how much of what he's been doing is just for his own sake. Hydra's about the whole, and not about the man. So if they knew that what he was doing was just for himself, I don't know. It makes me think that maybe even Hydra would stand against Garrett and take him out for only thinking of his own selfish stuff. Speaking of selfish stuff, we have Reyna's back here. Ruth Negga is so beautiful, and those dresses definitely work. This is where we're starting to see more of what's going to happen to her. Unfortunately, for her storyline, because Marvel was going to be ramping up to make the Inhumans a big thing, it kind of makes me, like, when I think forward to, like, what the new seasons I want to be watching, how kind of, in the end, as far as overarching stories that should be lasting, I mean, the Inhuman stuff should be going on right now. We should be up to our necks in Inhuman stuff, but we all know how that turned out. And so looking, knowing that the storyline really kind of goes nowhere in the end as far as the future is a little like, I'm not as looking forward to it as I thought I'd be. Just knowing that it really kind of doesn't matter. If you're looking for like something that's going to connect something bigger later. But Ruth Negga is such a great actress that you don't really mind the kind of pointlessness of the story. If you've never seen it before, you're going to be like, oh, wow. But like knowing what I know and what a lot of you know is that it's just kind of goes nowhere. And a lot of characters die along the way. And but her whole motivation, coming out now where you can tell she cares about people with powers, but you also know that there's a Ward kind of way of looking at it. You can tell that it's self-serving. That the only reason she's sticking around is for her own ends. And her own ends, again, they're very human. And they're not like, she's not looking to change the world. She's looking to change herself. And it's all like, about everybody in this has kind of got their own like very human things. They're not, a lot of people are putting themselves over the greater good in this show, as far as our villains go and stuff. And even some of our heroes have issues and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that's great about it. And I didn't appreciate it the first time around, is that we've got these bigger than life situations, but really when it comes down to it, we're all just being people. So they have the opportunity to put the little drive they have in the barbershop computer if they can find it. Meanwhile, Fitz and Simmons have tracked down the bus where Garrett is. And of course, as soon as you get there and you're told, they're told to leave, what's going to happen. Ward's going to be there. And he is. And this is where Fitz has to confront, and Ward has to confront, the situation at hand. Can you go back? Can you come back from this? And Fitz, and them, he gets the upper hand on Garrett for a second by using the Joy Buzzer EMP to put him down. Unfortunately, that also means that now Garrett wants them dead. And when they lock themselves into that room, thinking that they're safe in there, and trying to plead with Ward and seeing what Ward was going through, like when Garrett tells him to kill the dog and he doesn't. And you think, oh, okay, well, this is the part where he lets them go. This is where he makes his hero turn. And this is where the show has balls. And it doesn't do that. You find out that he made the dog run so that he wouldn't just shoot it in the face. He let it run and feel like it was okay so that when the final killing shot comes, it won't even know it's coming. And in this case, then it's reversed back to Fitz and Simmons, where Ward drops them out of the bus and into the ocean. And that's this moment right here, where even he has that look on his face. That this is it. Like, I can't come back from this. They say, like, you care about us, and he says, yes, I do. And that's a weakness. And that's another big part of this episode, is weakness and strength. Skye feels like she's being weak when she's being strong. You think that, the easy thing to do is really the worst thing, and the hard thing to do is to show compassion, is to try to change, isn't to accept the things that are easier. Ward's been given a hard choice his whole life, and he's never done the right thing. And, Skye, on the other hand, has been given the opportunity to do the wrong thing, and she does the right thing. Now, I still stand by what I said last time. I wanted her to kill Ward. We all wanted her to kill Ward, and of course the story won't let us because they don't want our heroes to be, like at least Skye, they don't want her to be in that gray area. And so it's just a lot of cool stuff in this episode. And I keep trying to figure out how to work Bill Paxton into these, like the images in the background, but this just to me was more important image. That look on Ward's face of just, I'm fucked. And there's no coming back. And it's a great way to end this review. So I think I've hit pretty much all the main points, and I think I've given this review. I'm usually I try to be entertaining, but this is more of an introspective review on character and humanity and stuff like that. So if you like this though, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, we will be back with season 1's finale at some point today. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Again Review saying have a great day, and we will see you on the next episode.